Yes, I would. The first question that I have, I'm actually going to call on the person who asked it because it's rather technical, and I think that he'll be able to do a better job for it. So, Matt Bradley, if you'd be able to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So, hello everyone. My name is Matt. I am an East Mountains resident, and most people living out in the East Mountains know we kind of only really have two actual options for internet deployment. We get CenturyLink, and most of the CenturyLink deployment, it's not even real cable. You're only really getting DSL, and that has a variety of limitations, particularly with upload bandwidth. You're not going to be uploading much of anything, period. Or you have satellite, and John kind of didn't get into the details of it, but both me and my roommate agree that satellite is an absolute last resort. It is not good for a variety of reasons. I was interested in some of what John was talking about with the 2.5 gigahertz deployment and testing for the Navajo nations. I did a little bit of research on the side, on the FCC's website, and I saw that there's even a band plan within that 2.5 gigahertz that's kind of meant to be dedicated to high power operations like a one-way video upload. And that's something that's super important to me because one of my hobbies, and something that I've even considered aspirationally as a career, is to be a live streamer. But the problem with being a live streamer in rural New Mexico, and New Mexico in general, but especially in rural New Mexico, is we just don't have any degree of upload bandwidth. You are going to have a stream that is hard capped in terms of video quality. And even if you can manage to tweak the settings and get your stream to be stable, it's still going to be standard definition at best. You're probably going to be dropping frames a lot. You're probably going to lose connection outright and entirely. So what I was curious about, and getting more specifically to my question, is what kind of parameters are you looking at during this testing phase? What sort of performance metrics are you looking at? Are we looking at just kind of a generic, hey, is this a viable thing that we can do as you're testing? Or are you actually kind of polling individuals that are using the service and figuring out how the quality of service works for them? Is it kind of more macro testing, or are we kind of aggregating individual results?
No, this is very, I consider this micro testing, and we are working with the IT department of Navajo Technical University to put the parameters of the test of the demonstration program together. We are going to be testing for, well, we're going to be initiating the test to include 7 different tower locations of ours. Reaching a, I'd say perhaps about 2,000 square miles of territory. And we're going to be using different manufacturers' equipment. So we're going to be testing the reliability and the performance of different manufacturers' equipment, and not only the access points, the transmitting antenna and base stations, but we're going to be testing the CPE, the customer premise equipment as well, the antenna that would be affixed to a person's house, and the internal modem, okay, the interior modem. And we will have monitoring on all of those modems. The customers are going to get the service for free during the test, but we're going to be monitoring their usage, we're at the capacity of usage, not the content, of course. And we're going to be having monitors at the different towers as to the consumption on a sector-wide basis. We are going to be selecting locations also based on topography, whether they're within treed areas, where they're over hills, because this 2.5, 2.5, the wave path will actually roll over a hillside, not a mountain, but will roll over a hillside as well as shoot through trees. So, but we don't know if that means, well, can this thing shoot through a bank of 20 trees from 100 foot from the tower, or will that block the signal altogether? Or if the household is behind 20 trees 5 miles away, 1 mile away, 10 miles away, 20 miles away, what type of signal they're going to receive. We think we can get 100 megabit to the home within 5 miles, and then scale down the farther out we go. We need to test for all those things.
I really appreciate the attention to detail there. That's very awesome. I'm stoked to have you looking into that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got, I think we've got a time for another question. And this one again, Steffi Weisberg, she seems to have a pretty deep knowledge about some of the issues that are going on here. So Steffi, if you could unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question, I think that you'll do it better justice than I will.
Sure, thank you very much. First, I really want to applaud what you're doing. I'm an educator at UNM, and we work with a lot of students in rural areas. And I know the connectivity problem is really a big deal. By the way, you might want to reach out to Nate Rayner at Mescalero Apache. He's a teacher there, and he's had a big difficulty. So that's one point. The other thing I wanted to know, though, is I don't know much about why satellites are bad. And with Starlink coming on, with Elon Musk's program, everybody's saying that that's the answer to the digital desert. So how do you respond to that? Will you work with them? And why wouldn't that necessarily be a good answer for us in the East Mountains?
Well, thus far, I mean, we haven't seen the low Earth orbiting satellite system work yet. And some people have been predicting that it's financially unsustainable. But so far, the satellite service that we all receive today, right now, doesn't come with the capacity that most customers will need, especially for distance learning or telemedicine, whatever. There are latency issues, of course, where for voice communications is especially notable. But if you're streaming or downloading or even uploading a lot of data, then the latency could be an issue. And also it's the cost. When you subscribe to satellite service, you're subscribing to a certain amount of data on a monthly basis. And once you reach that cap, after that, it becomes very expensive. We have, found with our own Navajo customers, just for their students' use, they say that they run into $125 to $150 a month, depending on how much time they're on. They're using the internet, and we can provide them 20 times the service for a fourth of the cost.
My understanding is that Elon Musk has offered Starlink to indigenous communities in Canada for free. So,
well, if he offers that service for free to all of the tribes in this country, I'd be very happy to see that, because I'm ready to retire anyway.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Do we have time for a couple more questions?
Sure. What other question do we have?
Okay, well, we have got, the first one is from Michelle Benton, and she asks, how do people learn to use the internet once they get it?
Boy, that's a great question. One of the issues that the FCC and the USDA, their broadband departments, have been wrestling with is how to increase the adoption rate. And we all understand there's a lot more to it, to satisfy the needs of subscribers, especially first-time subscribers, than just getting them a connection to the home. What we have done on Navajo, and we did this in the Milan area for the Grants Milan community, is we helped them build a computer training center. And we did that also at Laguna. And there's 6 different villages in Laguna Pueblo, and we developed an internet training center in an old one of these portable school buildings that we got donated from APS. One for each of the villages in Laguna. And that has helped, not only to help children learn how to, surf the net, but especially helpful for adults and the elderly. I think anytime we as a community and as a state walk into a greenfield area, walk into an area with very low capacity broadband, it should come with some sort of community outreach program as well.
Okay,
I was
great.
just going to add, if I could, oh, I'm sorry, just going to add real quickly to draw folks' attention to Cliff Ree's comment in the chat window. Your local community college would be a great resource, but also engaging with your local school district too, because it will help you understand where the needs are to get the speeds where they need to be, but also, they've got a number of resources as well, a lot of the school districts. Thank you.
Okay. And then I think, oh, sorry, Catherine, go
If I
ahead.
could just add real quick for Michelle, in this, era of COVID and not being able to get together as much as we would like to, Sacred Wind is a partner with Microsoft in an Airband initiative. And we're actually working with Microsoft right now to roll out fundamental soft skills through our marketing efforts. So this would be through our website, this would be through our social media. So for individuals that have our service and can access the internet, we would also have these fundamental soft skills on how to use the internet to get a job or to do remote learning or what have you, to even sell their goods, right? A lot of artisans want to be able to sell their goods on the internet. So we're working with Microsoft on that.
Right. And then I think that, do we have time for one last question or?
If anyone has to
Okay.
leave, please do, and thank you for joining us. But yeah, I'd love to hear one more question, Sandy.
Okay, this one is from Charlie, and she asks, so in the meantime, and I think this would probably go to Senator Padilla, so in the meantime, is there anything we consumers of rural broadband can do to pressure CenturyLink or other providers to give us reliable service?
Well, in terms of pressure, you just continue to report outages, continue to report where the needs are. That gives them the appropriate data on what they need to be doing. That's one thing. But even beyond that, I would say, getting highly invested with your local legislators to help in the fight to bring investment into New Mexico. We need to, we're a state that just simply can't afford this, to do this for ourselves. So we do need to bring investment into the state that, is repaid over time, like we do in many other aspects of our public life. We need to be able to do that. But, CenturyLink, you can actually bring broadband into your homes in a number of different ways, and you just basically would vote with your pocketbook essentially, and if you don't feel like you're getting the satisfaction, but they need to be held accountable just like any other company out there that does anything for a consumer.
Yeah, and I could say something too. In addition to participating in the election in November for a very important presidential race, there's a ballot proposition on our ballot here that would change the Constitution to make the Public Regulation Commission an appointive body, not an elective one, so that the then standing governor could appoint qualified people to run the Public Regulation Commission. The Public Regulation Commission has the authority to gently or not so gently encourage companies to expand their reach in rural areas of the state. And I think we as a state, if we need to establish for ourselves a sound infrastructure or a foundation of robust infrastructure, we need a sound PRC.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think that brings us to the top of the hour. And so, like Claudia said, if you need to leave, but we've got probably some time for some final comments from the folks, our experts that we have on the line.
And Sandy, would you please mention how people can find this recording in case they are leaving before we finish up?
Sure. I will have it posted. If you go to her past events on Claudia's website, it will be there. She has a YouTube channel, and you can link, either go to YouTube channel for Claudia Reisner, or go through the website on our events page, past presentations, and you'll be able to see it there. It'll take us a day or two to get it up, but it will be there within, by the end of the week.
Thank you.
So Claudia, I apologize. I'm going to have to run here in just a few moments. So thank you very much for having me today. I love this topic. It's very exciting.
I think so too.
It doesn't always get the it doesn't get the attention it needs until you don't have it. It's one of those deals, right? But and we're sort of knee deep in this right now with regard to distance learning. It's having an effect on commerce and business and job creation, et cetera, because we're utilizing that broadband to its fullest, which is very exciting that we're learning how to do things differently in this state. But I just want to remind everybody that we can't do this work without having legislators that understand it. And I was very impressed with Claudia's desire to wrap her hands and head around this issue, bringing folks like Sacred Wind, John and Catherine, who I have a lot of confidence in, and many others to the table to talk about this issue. We have a long way to go, guys, but we need to help people like Claudia to get to the legislature. So I hope that if you haven't already, or if you choose to, we're sort of getting, we can sort of see that home stretch. We're sort of on the third turn right now, and we need to help Claudia get there. So I hope that you will contribute to her campaign. It's very important. I hope you'll help people like Harold Pope and Marion Matthews and others that want to continue this work as well. I want to thank everyone that was here today, but I want to thank Michelle Metters and Dr. Neely Lang, who are also very big activists here in New Mexico that work on issues to help bring this stuff to the forefront. I see Neo's on the call as well. Good to see you, sir, and others. I will be helping Claudia in any way I can to get to the next step. And I appreciate everybody for allowing me to join you today. I'm going to jump off now, Claudia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator. I really appreciate your time. Bye.
So we can continue, or we can wrap up, Claudia. I'll leave it up to you. We are at the hour.
Yeah, this has just been wonderful. I'd really like to give Catherine and John an opportunity if you've got a couple of things you'd like to say, and then we'll thank you and we'll press on with our work of getting elected and getting some broadband and cell phone coverage out here in this beautiful East Mountain area.
Well, thank you, and I'll leave you with just this, the comment and a thought. I appreciate much your activism and for everyone who is online with us this afternoon. Appreciate your interest, and it really, as we New Mexicans are trying to resolve some of our more pressing issues, whether it's this, healthcare, or whatever, it really takes a village. It takes all of us to weigh in and contribute what we can to reach a solution. And with that, I want to say too that Catherine and I will do whatever we can to keep the discussion going with you, Claudia, and with the others on call today too. It is a dream of ours, but it's of high interest to us too, to see broadband extended to all areas of rural New Mexico, and whether it's using 2.5 gigahertz and Sky or any other solution, we want to be part of the solution and not the problem. And thank you.
I mean, I think that was said that he said it the best, but thank you guys for taking the time to be here. And for those of you running for office, thank you for your sacrifices and your commitment, and good luck to everybody. And what a beautiful state we live in. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, everybody.
I have one thing to add that we forgot.
I think New Mexico is poised to take on a leadership role in so many ways. And I think maybe it's COVID and a lot of things kind of crashing around us, and we're going to take big leaps forward in innovation, new business models, and working together as a community. I really see great things for New Mexico coming up, and all of us here are going to help get us there. So thanks so much for your time, everybody.
And one thing before you guys go, we forgot to mention, we do have a fundraiser coming up on October 2nd. I'm seriously excited about it. It is your voice, your vote, and it is with our incredible Secretary of State, Maggie Toulouse-Oliver, and also Senator Daniel Ivey Soto. They will be there for the most part, just to allow you guys to come in, be super VIP, ask all the questions you have about elections and getting out the vote. And even I asked Maggie if she could talk about anything coming from like the post office and all the nitty-gritty questions that we have and we're worried about or we're excited about. So bring your questions and come join us on October 2nd. All that information is in the chat as well. And those of you who are watching the chat who are not able to see it right now because you're being recorded, we will download the whole thing and send it along to you. So, all right, thanks guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That sounded really good.